On this episode of AntSol Travel, come along and we take a ride on Amtrak Acela, starting in the year 2000, with these train sets going up to 165 miles an hour with their NextGen fleet from Washington, D.C. to Boston. We'll take the original fleet that goes up to 155 miles an hour from Baltimore's Penn Station, and then go up to Boston's Back Bay Station, which will meet up with family there for my cousin's graduation. So let's explore the Northeast Corridor by public transportation, here on AntSol Travel. Everyone wanted high-speed trains to get to their destination as quickly as possible, especially the Japanese with their Shinkansen train set in the 1960s. When Amtrak formed in 1971, they took over passenger service from private railroad companies. In December 2000, Amtrak was able to push high-speed rail here in the United States on the map with the Amtrak Acela Express, naming combination, acceleration, and excellence, going up to 155 miles an hour. However, it was best they could do since there isn't much right-of-way that's dedicated for higher speeds, and only doing like in 3 sections in 3 separate states. So, didn't go and do so much, but it's something here in the United States at least. Hurry up, California High-Speed Rail. Do something faster, build faster, please. In September 2025, Amtrak brought in their new Amtrak NextGen fleet. The fleet has much more modern amenities, new interior, USB charging, new inputs, and also goes up to 165 miles an hour, which is 10 miles an hour faster than the current train set. The Acela is meant for more business people where time is money, money is time, and time is of the essence. For higher speeds and limited stops are the name of the game. It is. I'll be keeping track on time with the photo timestamps on timetable of the route, and we'll be hitting Trackwork as well in New York City, which will be delayed from 15 to 6 minutes. Since the Acela is meant for the business people, a lot of people were conducting like business calls, interviews. Yes, some were doing Zoom interviews, and also some of their coworkers were like going from New York to Boston there. So first, we'll be starting off from Baltimore. Beforehand, I went from LA to Baltimore via flying to DC, which you can see the short video I did from the DC Metro, and which is the short video was like 5 minutes for the DC Metro, and then also I think start in the morning. The train departs at 10 a.m. So I got my start taking that rail link to Penn Station. It does not go to Penn Station, it just continues north, so I had to walk half mile with all my suitcase to the station. So at least it was yeah, it was a bit of a workout to get there, but at least I worked out beforehand. Penn Station, my train, the Acela 2162, was running on time at 10 a.m. With the more local version, the Acela, the Northeast Regional 86, was arriving on time at 9:39 a.m. About 20 minutes later, then the Acela to Boston is here, and looks like we'll be taking the original train set that's on the left, been in service and start in December 2000, and that's being phased out with NextGen Acela. That's one that's arriving on the left, that's heading out down to DC. All of the original train sets will be phased out with the new Alstom Avelia Liberty train sets that were delivered and started service in September 2045. Now off to Boston, it'll take about 6 hours, departing at 10 a.m. and arriving at 4 p.m. It is slower than flying, but just as expensive at $99 for business class booked way ahead of time versus the base ticket for Southwest. However, you don't have to deal with TSA checkpoints and just go right from downtown to downtown. If you do drive, it is going to be 439 miles. It takes about roughly 9 hours on the freeways, and of course traffic, you never know how that's going to be. Considering it takes like $100 to fill up my Toyota Highlander with these sky-high gasoline prices these days due to current events, it takes about roughly 2 refills, nearly $300. So, yeah, the train and flying would sound better than driving, unless you need to carry a whole bunch. Unless you have to carry a whole bunch of stuff, they can't really take on the train or plane. So in general, people are taking the train nowadays more. If the route is viable to take as a train, people are going to take the train. With Amtrak and especially Rhode Island, Florida, seeing record ridership as well, especially during spring breaks and now summer break, and then high gasoline prices that's never going down ever at this point. It feels like, along with not needing to deal with airport security and planes, going train is so much easier. The business class is nice, but showing its age, with leather upholstery seats, which is great since I don't like fabric seats. The power outlets also has power outlets, reading lights, curtains for evening commutes, and especially tray tables. That was a little bit worse for wear, at least for mine is. For some reason, there's like duct tape on here. I don't know why, but there is duct tape on it. The power outlets did not work when I first boarded, but one of the other passengers contacted them shortly for one of the staff and know that to reset the breaker, and once it got reset, we were good to go. So far out of Boston, the Acela topped about 125 miles an hour, since the track is not certified for going to the top speed of 155 or 65 miles an hour. But we'll get to 155 miles an hour in our original Acela fleet train in New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. At 10:49 a.m., we stopped in the first stop in Wilmington, Delaware, with a few pickups. And then at 11:10, we arrived at Philadelphia. We picked up tons of passengers here as well. And thankfully, with the assigned seating on the Acela, you don't have to worry about finding a seat or staying the whole way like on the Northeast Regional or my home train service, Amtrak Surfliner, which happened to me a few times because of holidays and events. Departing from Philly at 11:15 a.m., we passed by Amtrak's Northeast Maintenance Facility, where they store and maintain train equipment. Why we're still thinking original Acela when there were new one just sitting right there? Those new train sets, some might have some mechanical issues or still need to get certified before they head out. So, most likely that could be the case. The original train set that was taking, was the part that was originally going to take had NextGen fleet that was at 7 a.m. But of course, that one got canceled for some weird reason permanently from the schedule. So they rescheduled me for this train set that departed at 10 a.m. So at least my mom was okay with it since we wanted to at least arrive in Boston before dinner reservation at 7 p.m. So that worked out there. And then also there in the yard was also the new Ario fleet trains for the Amtrak Cascades that was replacing the current Talgo Cascades train set that dated back to the 2000s. And then also for the Ario fleet, will work for the Northeast Regional train sets, like the one I also took from beforehand, as well, dating back to the 1970s, depending on which train you're on. After passing by Trenton, New Jersey, we were near the top speeds for the original Acela of 155 miles an hour, 149 miles an hour, the fastest I've ever been in a train in the United States. Then also there's tons of more trains that also have faster train service, such as, here's a list if I define it correctly. Departing Metropark Station in Iselin, New Jersey, located 26 miles south of New York City, we passed by a southbound New Jersey transit train, reminding that we all share the trackage together, along with the infrastructure upgrades that are needed with trackage owners and Amtrak need to be agreed upon, and which is not cheap. Then we rolled along the Port Authority Trans-Hudson line, or PATH, that's going to the New York metro area. The PATH line is a rapid transit line from New Jersey to Manhattan. The system is infamous with train enthusiasts for not allowing photos and videos of their trains. Why? Well, there's no real clear answer to find, but if you know, please let me know. Please comment it. Heading to the New York City area, we cross the Hackensack River to North Portal Bridge. The span that we're on is lower in the elevation, which is a original 116-year-old pivoting swing bridge that stops for boat traffic. So, which kind of, trains have to stop, so kind of stopping train service in on-timeness. So for this case there, we're building a new bridge that we've seen cross the way, which is now only open for southbound traffic. So which has taller and that meets the boat height requirements, so we don't have to swing the bridge out to let boats go. So there, it actually just opened in March for train traffic, so soon all the train crossings will replace on the new bridge will replace the old bridge. Then we go into the Hudson River Tunnel to New York City, which the tunnel has been sustaining tons of water damage from Superstorm Sandy that Amtrak is working to repair to this day. The bridge and the tunnel are part of the greater Gateway program that will repair aging infrastructure and expand capacity and double tracking each direction. And then at 12:25 p.m., we arrived at New York Penn Station, opened in 1910, Pennsylvania Railroad, which now serves 16 Amtrak lines, 12 Metropolitan Transportation Authority's commuter Long Island Railroad routes, 6 New York Jersey transit routes and 6 MTA subway routes in the heart of Manhattan, making it one of the busiest train stations in the Western Hemisphere. Tons of passengers board and exit the train as well, especially business people as well, that is coming to the city or leaving the city. And especially there is tons of people that especially are in the surrounding seats that were like all coworkers that were going on a quick work trip from Boston to New York and now returning back to Boston. Departing New York Penn Station, the train line emerges from the tunnel into the Queensboro and then the Bronx. Then you can see the Manhattan skyline in the distance. And I want to go to New York sometime, but I just need like 3 or 4 full days to be there to fully appreciate and then want to go around in places, so sometime in the future. In the Bronx, we were stopped due to single tracking from Trackwork. The southbound Acela passed by first and then our train sat next, making us delayed by 15 minutes. Amtrak sent out a text alert about the delay. Business people want to be more punctual for the Acela than most routes. While we waited, I might as well grab a couple things from the cafe car. It has a wide selection of lunch and breakfast sandwiches, microwave and hot dogs and hamburgers, snacks, and I got a turkey Hawaii sandwich and coffee, and both were pretty good and filled me up and caffeinated me until we reached Boston.
Okay, so lots. Nice queen.
Then we continued on the New Haven line and rolled up to New York State to Stamford, Connecticut at 1:30 p.m., which were about 12 minutes late. Now arriving at New Haven, Connecticut at 2:22 p.m., located 136 miles south of Boston, we were still 11 minutes late. Passing through New London, Connecticut, we were only going at 30 miles an hour. The Acela route could be faster, but it's held up by a shared trackage that limits the system, along with older infrastructure as well. Sometimes, especially as you can tell with the bridge in New York, over a century old. So, especially a couple cities before New London was Old Lyme, Connecticut, which has the crossing for the Connecticut River Bridge, which dates back to 1919, with a speed limit of only 45 miles an hour. Each. The bridge is now being replaced and will have a new speed limit of 75 miles an hour. In Providence, Rhode Island at 3:20 p.m. We were about 10 minutes late, but then we after that made a high-speed dash through the outskirts of the Boston metro area to make a bit more time there. And then we rolled along the Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority's commuter rail lines to Route 128, a huge park and ride stop, at 4:05 p.m., only 6 minutes late. Then we entered the tunnels of Boston, going by Ruggles Station and Northeastern University before pulling into Back Bay. It was only after a 6-hour train ride finally arrived at Boston's Back Bay neighborhood. Arrived at 4:17 p.m., only 7 minutes late. Not bad. However, the original Acela fleet has been seeing some better days, as you can tell. Well, panels has been missing on the opposite side of the power car. Back Bay is a busy business and transit complex with a couple miles west of downtown. Now to make way to the hotel. Walking half a mile from the train station, finally arrived at Sheraton Boston Hotel, while my cousin was graduating from Northeastern University at Fenway Park, with plenty of time before dinner reservations at 7 p.m. That's it for this trip report. On next episode, we'll be checking out Boston, and especially the historic North End, the MBTA light rail and subway cars, going on Boston's Red Sox game, and even public transport from Boston's Back Bay to Boston Logan International Airport. It was an experience, that's for sure. Thank you for watching here on AntSol Travel.